Hi there, this is Peter. I work for an SME developing complex applications and services for people within my organization. Yes, I am an application service provider. I'm always looking to take advantage of the cloud's dynamic nature to deliver responsive, adaptable services to my colleagues and be aware of the novel technologies. This is certainly important to ease the application service provisioning processes. I also take into account the best model for deploying applications and the must-have application service and features, especially in terms of application reliability, scalability, and availability. As you may imagine, complex applications entail a number of requirements. They are often distributed between cloud infrastructures to provide resiliency against cloud power outages, higher levels of elasticity, and better response times for their users by placing their services near the clients. Moreover, they are often designed to scale automatically in response to demand and to permit live upgrades in the underlying software. However, I usually face a number of limitations while deploying these applications on our own cloud or even in public infrastructure services, especially in terms of application deployment and software management, cloud networking configuration and control, and cloud security and access management. It's true that there are numerous software products and tools to manage different aspects of cloud solutions, but not an existing one to manage all previous ones at once. The good news is that searching in the internet I found the Cyclone H 2020 project. Cyclone people are proposing a platform solution which aims at integrating existing cloud management software to allow a unified management of federated clouds. The partnership is considering two flagship domains to guide the development and integration of the tools in Cyclone. On the one hand, some academic use cases for bioinformatics research, and on the other hand, a use case for commercial deployment for smart grids in the energy sector. They mainly target application service providers who develop complex applications and deploy them on hybrid cloud infrastructures. After all, I'm a lucky man. Plus, I have found Cyclone approach really interesting. These guys are trying to do my life easier as an application service provider by integrating tools and software of three well-identified areas: application deployment and management, cloud security and access management, and end-to-end network management. More specifically, the main Cyclone software components are the SlipStream as the reference tool to automate the deployment of applications, OpenNaaS-CNSMO tool, which brings network services to the cloud federations, and finally, the security architecture to secure the applications running in cloud federations. Naturally, they are considering different types of infrastructure service provider tools to validate their solution, both open source and licensed. Today, I would like to bring your attention over the network services being implemented and integrated as part of the Cyclone solution while deploying complex cloud distributed applications. The network services development is being led by i2CAD Foundation, main contributor of the OpenNaaS Cyclone Network Services Orchestrator tool, also known as the OpenNaaS-CNSMO. CNSMO is a lightweight microservices framework refactored version of the OpenNaaS. More information on OpenNaaS and the CNSMO component can be found in the website opennaas.org. The tool is responsible for deploying, configuring, and running multiple network services over distributed clouds. The network services run directly on the user space of user-defined virtual machines. These services have been carefully designed to run on any cloud and to have a small fingerprint in the virtual machines they run, with the goal to minimize the impact on the user space. Three major network services are currently available to be deployed together with the applications: the Virtual Private Network Service, Firewalling, and Load Balancer. To understand how the network services are deployed together with the application, it's necessary to introduce the SlipStream software developed by SigSquare. SlipStream automates the full application management lifecycle, including the deployment, testing, certification, and optimization within infrastructure as a service platforms. It supports a large number of infrastructure as a service technologies and services. More information can be found also in the official website of Square. In Cyclone project, OpenNaaS-CNSMO tool is deployed as a component within the SlipStream application store, so that the services provided by OpenNaaS-CNSMO can be made available to the applications within the application time. Okay, so let's see how it works now. In this video, we will show the deployment of an application together with a VPN service to secure the communication among the virtual machines that compose the application. As it was previously mentioned, OpenNaaS-CNSMO is part of the SlipStream application store, so that the network services can be deployed together with the user's applications. The user owns accounts on several infrastructures as service platforms where the application deployment can be done. Deployment is as follows. As an application service provider using Cyclone, I first need to prepare the application as the user wants to have it configured and deployed. Thus, I sit together with the application end user to determine the configuration parameters and services that the application should comprise. Among them, the user is able to include the network services. All this information is mapped to a SlipStream receipt. A receipt includes all those agreed application parameters, services, and configuration that will be used to deploy the application. This recipe corresponds to a bioinformatics application which aims to deploy a bacterial genomics cluster. The recipe includes several components to be deployed together with the application. The partial view of the recipe shows the VPN server as one of those components. Once the recipe is in place, the end user is now able to log in the SlipStream tool through the browser in order to deploy the application. Before deploying the application, some additional information may be requested from the user depending on the application profile. For instance, it might be necessary to specify the infrastructures where the user wants to deploy the application, or in case of deploying a VPN service together with the application, the number of VPN servers or clients. Afterwards, the user only needs to press the deploy button and the end user action finalizes here. Then, the application deployment starts. SlipStream prepares the virtual machines of the application and triggers one CNSMO instance from the application store so that OpenNaaS can configure the network services, in this case, the VPN. There are in total 4 virtual machines, one for the OpenNaaS-CNSMO instance, a second one for the VPN server, and 2 more for the application, which include also the VPN clients. The CNSMO instance is deployed in the platform of one of the available infrastructure as a service providers. Meanwhile, a different infrastructure service provider has been chosen to deploy the application. CNSMO synchronizes with SlipStream to identify which network services and how they must be deployed. The process goes through different stages. The initialization, the execution in which all the software components and libraries are set up, and finally the ready stage. Once the network service or services have been deployed together with the virtual machines of the application, CNSMO gives back the control to SlipStream so that it can finalize the deployment. Finally, the application is ready to be used, deployed in the chosen infrastructure platforms and including those network services of interest to the end user, in this case, the VPN service. For further information on the network services or Cyclone in general, please visit the website. Thank you very much for your time.